Atkinson, John Gibbons, the Liverpool Gin Distillery on Castle Street, the weekend before Liverpool play, Manchester United. We're going to come on and talk about that. But the other thing that's kicked up a massive fuss last sort of 24 hours is the fixture moves. And I mean, we'll chat about the sort of the theory of it in general, but I love a fixture move. It throws open possibilities, it throws open opportunities, but what I really love about this one is it's thrown up Manchester City getting stuff stuck in their craw one more time.
Yeah, there was a statement made last night from someone I've never heard of.
The Chief Operating Officer of Manchester City.
I wasn't aware of his work, I do apologise to him if he was doing some good stuff.
It's quite the operation he's running.
But he's not happy. I mean, to be fair, like, it's less than 48 hours between two of their games, is it? Which isn't great. I'd be a bit annoyed as well. And then there's the idea that the integrity of the competition, though, was the line that I think everyone's enjoyed.
It's gorgeous.
Manchester City are suddenly very concerned about the integrity of the competition. So good on them.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought they were a great set of lads where the integrity of the competition is concerned.
They tried to be given a wage cap, I think, at one point.
They've been absolutely fighting for its interests like nobody's business. In fact, the Chief Operating Officer of Manchester City might in fact be Arthur Scargill. We can one for the teenagers. I've just realised that Arthur Scargill's probably a Terry Waite, but we'll move on from there. It is though this sort of every single time the fixtures get moved, you win some, you lose some. We've lost some in the past. This time it does feel, let's be quite honest, and we can be fair about this, it does feel as though we've won some.
Yeah, the Christmas fixtures aren't too bad in terms of the distance between them. Also, there's a bit of a complaint from City point of view that obviously they play Wolves and then we get them 2 days later. We've had the extra break, and so it's not just when our games are, but when the teams who are playing are. But I mean, Christmas is frantic, and we've all taken the money off the TV providers. You can't just say Sky anymore because there's loads of them.
Yeah.
But
we listen to them all day.
Yeah, and I think that's the situation that all clubs are in, including Man City, that they're aware of, and they even say that in there. Well, there's actually nothing we can do because they decide. But Christmas is busy, and it's going to be busy for anyone, and no matter whether it's 2 days, 3 days, people have to rotate and get through it. I think Liverpool actually had the best record over Christmas last year, but then struggled into January, so maybe there was a little bit of a knock-on effect there. But it's always going to be tough. But yeah, Man City, integrity of the competition, very enjoyable.
There's some controversy over Liverpool's Boxing Day match against Leicester City going to 8 p.m. On this, I always wonder whether or not you're fighting the right fight. Like, I'm more annoyed, for instance, that we've got Leicester City on Boxing Day, because there's no public transport on Boxing Day, and Leicester's a nightmare to get in and out of at the very best of times. It's a one road in, one road out type of place. Certainly if you're coming north, that's not Leicester's fault either, by the way. That is the way in which roads operate. That's more my issue than literally what time that game kicks off.
Yeah, I don't really understand the time thing on that day, because what is a good time on Boxing Day? Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, 8 o'clock would allow you, for example, if you're a home or away fan, to have a nice lunch with the family or whatever, do things and then kind of leave when you need to leave. So if you were from Liverpool, about 4 o'clock or whatever, obviously in Leicester kind of much later. So, it's back a bit late, but, I don't really massively get that. I mean, it's funny, for me, the biggest issue is that it's all on Amazon Prime, because I'm already paying for Sky a lot, by the way. I pay for BT. I pay for LFC TV so I can watch the friendlies and the academy stuff and that. So now you're telling me I've got to pay for something else. And it's this weird thing where they were like, oh Sky, it was uncompetitive. Do you know what I mean? The kind of the anti-monopoly kind of situation, so which is meant to be because that's bad for consumers. But now those of us who watch games on telly, which is much more, by the way, than the 3,000 Liverpool fans or whatever it is Old Trafford, I've now got to fork out for something else, and I don't really understand why that's in my interest.
Yeah,
I was fine with it all just being on Sky. I thought he'd do a good job.
And I think it's a really interesting point, in that I was somebody who did want to see it shaken up, and I think you maybe see it shaken up in terms of the fact that Sky and BT and presumably now Amazon will all approach it in different ways. But if it's not made any difference to the cost, then ultimately where are you coming from? It's a reminder, for instance, you can say you want, it's not actually a dissimilar metaphor to the trains. It's not like there's two different, it's not like there's two different companies screening Liverpool versus Leicester, and you can choose one for price over quality. There's only one way to watch it, and you've got to jump through those hoops, in the same way that if you want to get a train from Liverpool to London, broadly speaking, you've got to go and get a Virgin train.
Yeah.
So you can say, well, it's competitive, but it doesn't actually work that way, because you haven't actually got a competition factor here. You're not picking between 4 different providers of Liverpool, Leicester, and you might go for Sky because you want Jamie Carragher, whereas I'm trying to think of a footballer. Whereas Amazon have got El Hadji Diouf and you've got to pick between them and go from there. You know what I mean? That's not sort of where this is coming from. And they've got LH Juice, but the cheaper, Jamie Carragher, but the more expensive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not what's happening here. So it is strange. It's never really played out.
Yeah, so that's sort of my bigger issue with it really, and stuff that I don't get. I mean, look, you might say that one more games are on telly now, so maybe if it was just Sky, for example, then this game would be on, and then you can't watch it anyway. And so that's a kind of a thing. But all this idea of, Amazon get all the games on Boxing Day, that doesn't sit right with me more than the idea of when this game is.
Kickoff times in general, I mean, I'm in writing on the matter, so let's just be clear about that. I'm sort of beyond the argument. I think that, there's some bleating, I've seen some places about who has or hasn't got Saturday 3 o'clocks, as though there's some sort of divine right to Saturday 3 o'clocks, or Saturday 3 o'clocks are better. You just said before on Boxing Day, I don't really see any difference between Leicester versus Liverpool, really practically, and this is in part me being selfish, but this is sort of part of my point. We've all got, literally, if I could write my ideal set of kickoff times between now and the end of the season, that'd be fabulous. But as we've discussed previously, I wasn't able to watch Norwich versus Liverpool first game of the season because I had something else on. And sometimes you just can't go, or you can choose not to go if it's inconvenient.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just stay and watch it on your Amazon if you've got it or whatever. And I think,
or just miss it completely.
I think as well. Yeah, I think no one was getting trains to Leicester on Boxing Day worthy. Do you know what I mean? It was coaches. And fair play to Liverpool, by the way. They're putting on free coaches for the game because they understand that it's difficult for people. So good on kind of Liverpool with that. It's a dry coach, so you won't find me on it. But it is
on Boxing Day.
Exactly.
Jesus.
By the way, but it's a free coach all the same. So fair play to them. But I think.
Do you reckon they're going to check, like, if you're still so drunk from Christmas Day? It now counts as wet.
I think that's fine, as long as you're not taking any on. I think you're all right.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It's an ongoing discussion, and maybe it's one that we might try to do a little bit more on the Anfield Wrap, the kick-off times conversation. I do think there's some people who feel as though that, like, the Premier League or the television channels should ring them personally to check whether or not a kick-off time's convenient before some games. Some of them you miss, some of them you just got a cop for, some of them are a little bit awkward. It's more the long travelling ones I'd rather we were getting looked after, and I'd always rather ticket prices were lower, and one of the routes to that is through television money, as far as I'm concerned. Listen, we've got a big game coming up on Sunday at Manchester United, 4:30 kickoff. Don't know what my ideal time is for that on Sunday, but we've got that one coming up, and we've done lots of preview work on the Anfield Wrap, and here's a clip from our preview show.
There's no bad midfield anymore. Do you remember the talk of the Brexit midfield?
Yeah, you said that.
No, I did. I did, but that phrase sort of symbolised we picked a certain midfield when we were playing away from home against top sides, and they didn't have the type of results that you want because we were playing against people like PSG, weren't we? We were playing against the top sides, and because it was a bit more of a functional midfield rather than bags and bags of flair, then people didn't like it. But I think any permutation of our midfield are more than capable of doing this job, regardless of who's in that Man United
I think
team.
that's an important point you make, because it felt like at those times we were adapting to the way somebody else played. So you'd sort of see James Milner come in as almost being that defensive option in midfield, really, without being the natural sort of number 6, if you want to call it that. It would be that we'd be reacting to how we expect another team to play, whereas I almost don't think you need to do that against this Manchester United side. You look at their midfield and what it's made up of now, and there's no one in there which particularly scares you. Even if Paul Pogba does come back in, he's errant and doesn't seem to have much positional sense. So you'd think
might actually leave gaps if he does play.
Exactly. The almost thing where you would question is whether Liverpool needs to go a bit more offensive, but then is it a risk to be bringing in Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, who you class as those more attacking options? Exactly. So you'd think that midfield three, which John says there, they'd be the ones you'd go to because they give you that solidity, but they also give you so much going forward as well. It's one of the things that's so underrated about Fabinho in particular, but also you look at Jordan Henderson and Wijnaldum now. Wijnaldum's banging in screamers for Holland and playing a much more advanced role for them as well. Henderson's thrived in that more advanced role which Klopp gave him last season, and Fabinho's so good at putting us on the front foot now that it used to be that they're two of the members of that sort of Brexit midfield, if you do want to call that, aren't they, in Wijnaldum and Henderson, but they give you that creativity as well as whatever else they gave you in functionality and things like that now.
Excellent preview show that. There's been loads of great content over the international break on the Anfield Wrap. I'm actually trying to say content less. I want to say work. And the reason why I want to say work is that I think it adds the idea that people work at this. We're working very hard to get the best possible material out for you surrounding Liverpool Football Club, especially when the season gets ridiculously exciting. What we did a couple of days ago was our app people, who are very kind at Pixelbeard, whacked tokens into everyone's account who's a £5, £7, all free user of the app. And right now, if you download the app for the first time, you'll get tokens as well. And with those tokens, you can watch our free stuff. You can watch our paid for stuff, our premium stuff. So if you're currently on the audio, you can check out some of the video stuff we've been doing across the last week, 2 weeks, and so on and so forth. You can watch that preview show. You can save them up for post-match pint after Manchester United. Use those tokens. Do not be shy about getting stuck into them. I want to see them go. And you can find out what it is that we're up to. We're proud of what we do, and as I say, that's why we refer to it as work. It is a serious bit of business. A lot of people pull it together for us, and we always appreciate both their efforts, but also what comes out the other side. So do have a little look at that. Manchester United, Liverpool then. We should be nervous. Are you nervous?
A little bit, yeah, just because I'm always nervous after an international break. Like, I've forgotten how good Liverpool are a little bit. Yeah. And then I watch them and go, oh yeah, we'll be fine. We're brilliant. I remember now. It's been 2 weeks, so... Look, I think the break maybe suits Man United a little bit more, sort of, being able to clear their heads a bit, go off and do stuff, although going off and doing other stuff didn't work out very well for David De Gea, I suppose. But I think, it's a nervy game. We've all got memories of going there and it not going great. We for every sort of 4-1, in 09, there's 2 or 3, Solskjaer scoring in the last minute, and so it's not always, it's not been a happy hunting ground for any team, really, but kind of in particular for us, as Liverpool fans. And so nervous because it means a lot, nervous because I really want to win it, and also I think it'll be a big one to win. Like, they're all big ones to win, I suppose, but I think this one in particular, first game back after international break, we drew there last year, especially if Palace can do us a bit of a favour, if then we can go down there and win. Everyone else is looking at it but going a bit like, when are these going to drop points?
I think it's one where, John, it's a lot of it, Solskjaer has said that De Gea may not be as bad as first feared. Pogba is pretty much ruled out. They're trying to get Martial on the pitch. And I think that's their only way home, really, is to have the top end of the pitch, 3 lads with tons and tons of pace, see if there's a way in which they can run at us at some points during the game and get something from that. They've not been very creative. They've not got a road through to creativity, I don't think. But they are still Manchester United, and there will still be that little bit of onus on them, and I expect the crowd to be up unless Liverpool can quieten them.
Yeah, I think, the crowd will respond to anything they can, won't they? So, Sundays afternoons, are maybe the best time for kind of, atmosphere or whatever, but it being a bit later, people might have been out or whatever and enjoy it. And the crowd will be looking for something to jump on. And so if from a Man United point of view, they'd be, wise really to sort of give them something, if that's picking an attacking lineup, as you say, picking a lot of pace, or just throwing a few tackles in or whatever, and just getting
big first 10.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to play with a bit of. I think the worst thing they can do is sit back, just because I don't think that's particularly wise against Liverpool, because they'll find a way. But also, if they want to try and get the crowd on side, I think they've got to try and take the game to Liverpool a little bit, whether they kind of want to or not. And so I think that is the sort of only hope, really. But this Liverpool team have been so good this season, especially, but going way back of working out a way to beat people, of finding a way, of weathering storms. There's been times this season where other sides have been on top during the game, like that'll always happen, but Liverpool have stood firm. We've got the result, and we've attacked well when we've been able to, and I think we'll see all that Sunday.
We'll indeed see all that Sunday. It'll be fantastic. We'll have pre-match stuff that I've already mentioned. Post-match stuff, we'll have team talk coming out today after the manager's press conference. We've had the weekender already. AFQ will be coming out later on to set the weekend up for you. But then it is all about Sunday. Post-match video, post-match audio, back into the Anfield app next week. Getting excited about Genk, getting excited about Tottenham, getting excited about Arsenal, getting excited about Aston Villa, getting excited about Genk, and then getting excited about Manchester City. The point is this season is alive. This season is happening now. Come and enjoy it with us. Neil Atkinson, John Gibbons, have a lovely weekend.
That's right.